Hello and welcome to the Now for Later podcast for Sunday, February 16th, where we talk about love.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Now for Later podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Liam, joined, as always, by Mr. Smash himself, Michael Gregorio.
What is up, guys?
You may be noticing a few different things about the podcast this week. First of all, hopefully you can hear an exponential boost in audio quality, and that is because today we are finally using a wired microphone.
Yes.
It's very exciting. We have it going into a little kind of mini board sort of thing.
Yeah, a small box with many dials and knobs.
There's a wire going into the mic, a wire going into my computer. There are some dials, knobs, buttons, lights.
It looks like it could control like a rocket ship or something. We are ready for launch, though.
And our voices are the rocket engines.
We are fueling this podcast. We are hopefully fueling your day, getting you where you need to be.
Yes. And the next thing you may notice is we have a new intro. In the past, we have used snippets of songs that sort of have to do with the topic at hand. But this week, hopefully we'll institute a brand new intro that we will be using from now until 20XX.
Exactly.
And
we now issue this decree.
Yes.
This shall last into the distant future, I hope.
Hopefully. Another thing, this week we have another single topic episode, and I think we're going to be doing a lot more single topic episodes in the future. Just because, I don't know, we feel like it sort of meshes a little better when we both have the same topic. We prepare a little bit more. And, we're going to go on little side tangents and everything, but it helps keep us a little more focused.
It does.
And it gives a better quality. An hour of a topic is better than a half hour of two topics, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. How's your weekend?
My weekend was great. One restful weekend, 3-day weekend. I don't have class on Friday. But getting ready for the busy weeks ahead. So, we're packing in for the long haul. We're here for 4 whole weeks. Then we get a week off.
Yes.
Which I greatly look forward to.
Spring break.
Maybe we'll go to Cancun and get plastered or something. Who knows? But yeah, it was good. Got a little bit of work done, and I feel rejuvenated and ready to tackle the challenges the week ahead.
That's excellent. I like that.
And how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm ready to start this assignment, this run crew assignment. I'm very excited. I hope it isn't bad, and I'm going in with an open mind. And I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. New experience, you know?
Exactly.
This semester has been the let's try new things semester. Let's make friends. Let's meet people.
It's pitiful that we even have to say let's make that a change.
It's pitiful, but you know what?
It has to be done.
It has to be done. It just does. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, man. It's just got to be done.
So let's get after it. Let's change some things in our lives and make ourselves better versions of ourselves.
I feel like we're doing that. I can't speak for you, but I feel like I've been doing that for myself. I've been reaching out, being friends with people, you know? You have.
I've lost some friends in 2019. I said, let's get rid of the people in my life that...
Trim the fat.
Exactly. Let's, instead of 5 or 6, loose acquaintances, let's trim it down to 2 or 3 good friends.
I like that.
I think that less is more in many situations. I greatly respect minimalists. I could never be a minimalist, but the fact that they can take the most important possessions in their life and thrive off of them. When they see the unneeded weight and they just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Something which, a lifestyle that I love, which I feel like is a good mix between minimalist and traditionalist, would be hygge, the Danish art of living happy.
Yes.
I feel like, there's enough warmth from what you have, but enough calmness from what you, not necessarily what you don't have, but what once was chaotic and has now been reduced to just bare minimum what you need.
Yeah, I like that. I would say we should practice hygge because we already, one of the steps is wearing all black, and that's sort of something that we wear a lot of black.
We do. It's kind of part of our job at this point.
And then the only thing that we're missing is candlelight. Big part of hygge is candlelight.
It is, and Yukon's not a very conducive place for hygge because they don't allow candles. So I guess that they are single-handedly standing in the way of my personal happiness.
You'll be hearing from our lawyer.
You will. I also love how in hygge it's a lot of, it's predominantly like white walls, simple in that regard. IKEA, I feel like, is a good example of this.
Yes.
They have the natural wood tone furniture or, animal skins or things like that. Just, I feel like it's very natural. Nooks are a big part of, a nice little maybe bay window with a window seat, a good place to curl up and read a good book.
I love a good nook and I love a good book.
Say it loud and proud.
I love a good nook and I love a good book.
There we go. For all the people out there to hear, I feel like that's, if you can take alone time but do it in a very intimate spot, where, you're, the space is embracing you.
Yes.
I feel like it's just very calming.
It is.
Not like a sensory deprivation chamber.
Yeah, where it's the sound from your voice dissipates into the air.
I would never do one of those.
I think I would go insane.
I think you would.
That's crazy.
Or like there's a room, I don't know where it is, but the noise level in there is -9 decibels. You can hear the sound of your blood flowing through your body. People can't last more than a few minutes in there before they literally start to go insane.
Yeah, I can imagine how crazy that'll be. If you're just in a confined space and you just hear these fluids flowing from inside of your body, it's kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of fluids, I got 2 milk facts for you.
I'd love to hear them.
First off, a muskox's milk is 8 times as fat as that is of human milk.
Like, would the consistency be different? Like, would that be the equivalent of like I feel like normal milk or like human milk or maybe even the milk from a cow would be like almost like a watery viscosity.
Yeah.
But I feel like 8 times the fat, that would be almost like, not like Jell-O, but like a
pudding.
Yeah, maybe a pudding.
No, I think it's
That's kind of a gross thought.
I think it's just just higher like lipid content or something, And then the other one is a black bear's milk is 5 times as fat.
The bear one doesn't surprise me. Those little cubs are pretty fatty. Fun story.
Let's hear it.
If you ever go into like West Suffield and you go, well, I guess it's really, I think East Granby at that point. If you were to go down Newgate Road and then Copper Hill branches off and you kept going straight, one time I think the driveway was going up the road, leveled out, and then the hill continued to go up. So this bear cub came lumbering up the yard. We didn't see it until it was right in front of us. It was kind of cute, but also kind of scary. We had to swerve. The thing just runs out in the middle of the road. Its fat was just like
blubbering.
It was blubbering as it ran, and then straight up the hill.
I thought you were going to say you would have hit it, and I was going to be so
sad. No. I wouldn't share such a morbid story with our dear listeners.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet, at least. Yeah, we haven't formed the bond.
It's episode 10. Episode
it is.
X.
Do not open till 20XX.
Yeah. We just need to do 2010 more of these.
We do.
2010, what a good year.
Unfortunately, I don't remember much of it.
I don't really remember that much, but it seems like it would be a cool year. 2010.
I was 9.
I was 10 or 9, depending on what time of the year it was.
I was 8 or 9.
Good times. Well, speaking of, I don't know, I was thinking of warm embracing from the Nook.
Yeah.
Because our topic this week has to do with a holiday that just happened, Valentine's Day. Saint Valentine.
His feast day.
And it's love. Wow, 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 wow. Love.
On a love boat. I don't really know how that theme song goes.
Everyone was on Love Boat.
Everyone, like, people I feel like got their careers
Steve Carell.
jump started off that.
Mm.
I do like Steve Carell. I feel like he's very funny.
Yes.
I feel like he's good in both dramatic and comedic roles.
Yes.
Which I feel like a lot of comedians aren't good at.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like either you see them as like, oh, this must be so hard for them. You know, it must be like so tongue-in-cheek. But I feel like Steve Carell is just so good at
acting.
You know, he never like just starts laughing. His characters are just always so stone-faced, and I think he's very good at that. And I feel like everyone knows him nowadays from The Office.
Yeah.
Which, the more I let The Office kind of sit on, kind of percolate in my mind, the less I like it. At the time, I thought it was very funny. I feel like, I watched every episode. And again, at the time, I liked it. But I feel like now the jokes are kind of like, oh, yeah, I've heard that before. Like, I feel like a good joke is funny every time you hear it. And there are some good jokes that, pop up. And it's like, oh, that's still kind of funny. But I feel like once you see it, like, I won't ever go back and rewatch that. I don't even rewatch episodes. I feel like there are some people who it's like, they'll just, Office roulette and just choose some random episode and start watching.
Yeah. No, The Office is one of those shows where it's like, I loved The Office when I was probably in middle school.
Yeah.
And as more people come to like it, it makes me like it less.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just like a weird sort of counterculture hipster thing I have that's ingrained in me for some reason. But I don't know. I feel like it's really... I thought it was underappreciated when I watched it. But now that everyone likes it, I feel like it's being overappreciated.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a show that isn't, that I think is way better than The Office, and I've always thought it was better. Parks and Recreation. I love that show, and I think it is often seen as like a copy of The Office, but I think it is The Office done better, and it ends before it gets bad, which The Office did not do.
No. They should have stopped after season 7.
Yeah.
And I feel like, doesn't Michael leave mid-season too?
Yeah.
Like, it's Michael's farewell, and then Will Ferrell's character is the manager for like one day.
Yes.
And then who takes over?
Creed.
Oh yeah, Creed takes over for a spell. And then it's Robert California. When does he come in?
I'm the Lizard King.
He is the Lizard King.
I like Robert California.
He was an interesting character, but I feel like, again, the show should not have kept on going.
It went off the rails.
Went off the rails. Oh, who plays it? Was it David Spade plays him? Love David Spade. Great character. Not for The Office. If he had played that character in another show or movie, it would have been like, wow, Robert California is awesome.
Yeah.
But he was just kind of like beating a dead horse at this point. He didn't know when to stop.
No. Unlike Parks and Recreation, which it was good all the way through. And let me tell you, you can't beat Ron Swanson. You haven't seen Parks and Rec, right?
No, but I go and see those clips on YouTube. So I get those really weird out of context things.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, okay. No, yeah. That should be your next comedy to watch. The next show you should watch,
Mad Men.
Mad Men is my favorite show. Number 1 is Mad Men, number 2, Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
For like live action shows, we are gonna start. I'm gonna introduce Michael to something that I like, anime.
I have never once seen a clip or even a part of an anime. I mean, I've only ever watched Western cinema.
Yes. Well, we watched a cartoon this fall, a miniseries. Over the Garden Wall.
Yes, we did.
And that's one of my favorites. And you liked it, right?
I loved it.
It was very charming. Let me tell you, we're gonna watch Death Note because I think it's a nice first anime to watch. It's not that long. It's not crazy action. It's sort of rooted in more quote unquote realism in terms of anime.
Yeah.
And it's all about characters, and I think you'll like it because it's a lot of like mind games. It's about two people trying to outwit each other and just find each other out. It's very good.
I greatly look forward to it.
Yes, and we'll start that.
Yes. And one thing that makes many of these shows very successful.
What is that?
It's the element of love.
The element of love. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about love this week. What a crazy topic. Love.
I think it's way out of my league. I've not yet found love. So maybe this will be like my Match.com. This podcast.
I think that's a good idea. Now, love is a crazy thing. It's confusing and it doesn't make sense, and most of the time it hurts more than it's worth. But then there are those moments when you're in love and you're just like, wow. It makes it all worth it. I'm sorry, I just got lost in your bangs for a second there.
They're very soft.
You take a shower before you come here?
I did, preventing myself from having to do so this evening.
Me too. But, yeah, so talk about, how do you feel about love? And for this, do you want to talk about just romantic love, or do you want to talk about love between family members and friends? I
think let's do all types of love.
Because there are all types of love in the world.
Because I feel like whenever I see, I don't know, my parents or my grandparents, whenever I, leave, I'm like, oh, I love you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In a way, it's almost instinctual. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like you hang up, you're calling your mom on the phone. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, bye, love you too, or love you, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like as often as I say it, I mean it.
Me too.
Even, no matter what, you were talking about, no matter how heavy it was, or how lighthearted it was, or how, aggravating it may have been, you still love each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like there were so many stories of people who, they got in a wicked fight with their parents, especially. They, cut them off, and then they eventually have a reconciling, and they go back, and they can once again say, oh, I love you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's just such a fascinating thing, that love doesn't need to be this intimate relationship between two people, mm-hmm. This romantic thing. It can be just a greater form of, this is going to sound odd, a greater form of liking someone. In a way, it's like, I like my coworkers, I like my colleagues, they're good people, mm-hmm. but I love my family.
Yeah.
That's the delineation of, work and home.
Yeah.
People that and people that you know on a greater level.
Yeah.
And I feel like love is something that kind of keeps the wheels of life moving.
Keeps them greased.
It does. Because I feel like whenever, if I'm home for a weekend and I see, maybe my aunt or something, it's mm-hmm. It's always so great to be able to catch up with someone, and, they know exactly what's going on in my life. They know where, we left off, and then we can catch up from there. Mm-hmm. And it's always so great, to have a support system. If it's like, oh, I had a really rough day or a really rough week, how can we, let's just talk about it. Let's, try and come down from that. And I feel like my family is what's gotten me here. And I feel like my friends keep me sane, And on that same note, the love for friends is different from the love for family. There are so many types of love.
Yeah, I really like that, because I feel like there is the platonic love between friends is such a real thing, and like you said, every type of love is different from one another. I think even within your family, the love you have for your mother is different from the love you have from your siblings than from the love you have for your grandparents. It's all different, I feel like love is one of those things where it's really just a person-to-person sort of thing, and you can't really... It's used as a blanket term now. Love you, like you said.
Yeah.
But it is such a specific and almost crucial emotion to have with people who are your closest with in your
mm-hmm.
life. And yeah, I mean, familial, friendship, romantic, all of these loves are sort of it was a culmination of sort of you're sort of in a different echelon, of you're okay, I moved past this feeling of we're friends or whatever. It's love is this person, and things will be different without that person, you know?
Yes.
I don't know. What do you define love? Because I know that's one of those words, again, especially with like middle school, high school, college relationships, it gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you say you love someone, or at least when I do, when I say I love someone, you mean it, you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those words that I wouldn't just use where it's like, oh, I like this, I like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like I use the word like a lot.
Yeah.
What does the word like mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like that Monet painting over there, and I also like that, you know, the $10 design on the card.
Yeah.
You know, on the thank you note. Clearly, I would more than likely like the Monet painting more than that, but I just use the same word.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I say, I love this, or I love you, that's, you know, higher.
Yeah.
You know, especially when it comes to people, it's like, you know, oh, I like this person. You know, we're close enough. You know,
We're buds.
You know, we see each other 5 days a week, you know, when we go to school or work, and, you know, maybe we're desk mates or something, and, you know, I like them. They're good.
You hang out with them. You smoke a Joshy with them.
Yeah, you smoke a Joshy with them. Maybe, you know, get a little tipsy with them, but, you know, you draw the line there.
Yeah.
But then, when you truly love someone, it's just, like, you know when you love someone. And not in the romantic sense. Like, you know when you love someone in that sense. But I feel like when it's, like, with your family especially.
Yeah.
It's like, there's extended family, like, these huge family functions. If it's your grandparents and your parents and your siblings, like, you know you love those people. But if it's your third uncle on your, you know, father's side, twice removed, do you really love them?
Cousin Larry.
Yeah, Cousin Larry, it's like, you don't know Cousin Larry, you see him once a year for Thanksgiving. Can you say, I love you? Like, that's more, in my mind, where you draw the line.
Yeah.
And it's like, what kind of bond do you have? Last time I talked to you, I was a year younger, and that was it. We didn't talk about what happened in the year past. You know, all you talked about was politics, and, you know, everyone didn't seem to like you for that.
Yeah. Larry.
And so, I don't know, it's so vague. I mean, this is one of those things where if I put this in a thesis statement, the professor would circle it and say, tell me more. Be more specific. Elaborate. And it's just so hard to define. But I mean, on the level of friends, it's like, I feel like it's acceptable to say, oh, I love you like a brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not in the sense of, I love you, like, let's make out. Like, no. And I feel like some people see it that way. But I mean, that's absolutely not what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like, here's my appreciation for you. You're like, you're still my friend, but you're more than other friends.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I feel like that's what people, like, you're more than a friend to me. It's like, well, you left out the second part. You're more than the other friends to me. Like, in every other sense of the word, you're still my friend.
Yeah.
You know.
You're just, a different echelon of friend.
Yeah, it's like, you didn't jump the line to family. Like, I don't know how you would have done that.
Definitely didn't jump the line to lover.
Exactly.
No, yeah, I feel like the love between friends is something that's really special, too. I feel like you said, especially between, like, I feel like it's very frowned upon to be like, to your guy friends or whatever, you know, I love you, man. Like, without having to retract and say, like, oh, but, like, we're, you know, I feel like you should be able to say I love you to people if you mean it, and have them understand that that doesn't mean that they want, you know, they want to go on a date with you, you know?
Yeah, like, it's a very fine line, and I feel like in the society we live in, it's just, everything can be read into. Yeah. Because anything goes.
Anything goes.
You know, there's been every combination of everything ever made. Nothing new will ever be discovered again. Like,
this sentence has already been said thousands of times.
Exactly. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm just delusional, but I feel like if you ever watched maybe like an old-timey movie, people would say like, oh, I love you. I feel like that's just more commonly used. Especially with like older people to people that aren't related to them. Yeah. But I feel like nowadays you can't do that.
Yeah.
because then all of a sudden it's like you're a child predator. Like, no.
Yeah.
And I feel like the world is starting to lose its element of love. I feel like love is slowly just, falling through the cracks. People are sacrificing love for their own self-benefit. They'd rather take money over, or furthering their career over, settling down, marrying someone, and being truly happy in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like love between, man, human race is, it's being kind of abandoned in terms of, when you see someone, and I don't know, people aren't helping each other. People are more out for themselves. People are doing more selfish things, more greedy things. And it's sort of being deemed okay by, society in a way.
They see the independence as oh, good for you.
Yeah, grinding,
you don't need to rely on anybody.
Sometimes you do need somebody, Sometimes other people need you. So, and it gets, you should just show your love, to people.
Yeah.
If you love someone, you should say, hey, I love you. You're a great person. Thank you for being in my life.
Yeah.
It'll make their day. Tell someone you love them today.
Exactly. And I feel like it can be a very awkward thing. You know what I mean? I don't know if I've ever said I love you to anyone that's not my family. And I feel like it's because I fear people will read into it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's also difficult because it's do I sound like I'm coming on, I'm coming on a little too hard, a little too fast here?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we always think about what other people will perceive that as.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess in some regards is a good skill to have, that intuition of, ooh, maybe this is where I draw the line. But I feel like at the same time, we should compliment and, thank everyone for, in our lives for what they've done for us. And, yeah. I really, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that's a term also that gets just on the opposite side of the spectrum. I feel like it goes around too easily.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can't really truly love everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like you can only have a select few people who you truly love and you actually mean it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of friends. I probably have 5 people who I can say I love them, as friends.
Yeah.
Family members, mom, siblings, grandparents.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. And then, obviously the romantic kind of love is sort of a one-on-one thing. So yeah, I feel like love is something that's thrown around really loosely, but how do you feel about the sort of laissez-faire sort of attitude on love now?
I think it's hurting society. I think that, like you said, we should have just a select few.
Mm-hmm.
I love this group of people. These are my core group.
Yeah.
I think the test to know if you love someone is, would I bring anything to them?
Yeah.
What kinds of things am I comfortable talking to them about?
Yeah.
If you can open up about anything, then I feel like that's a good place to say, well, I guess you have to be the judge, but, they're very reliable. They really are there for you. Mm-hmm. So that's, it's you love them. It's again, in the platonic sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like that applies for family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everyone's scenarios are different. Everyone gets help in different ways. And, it's really up to you to decide, who you love. But I feel like less is more in this regard. If you only have so much love. You have 1 gallon of love that's also milk. You can only pour it in so many glasses and have it be a substantial, wow, this person loves me. This person would do anything for me and I can do anything for them. Because love is also a 2-way street.
That's the thing. It can't be just a one-way street.
Yeah. It can't be someone saying, I'm watching a movie, I love
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I love Margot Robbie. You don't know them, and they don't know you. Margot Robbie was great in that movie.
She's a talented actress.
Yeah, I like her work. You know, I feel like that's a good way to put it. You don't love them. And I feel like there are so many things in society that are so laissez-faire now that we need to kind of dial back on, but love is something, because love drives the world.
It does.
It drives our relationships with family, friends, and lovers, I suppose. And I feel like it can also create new relationships.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I mean, I think you're totally right. And, like, I like your little analogy there with you got a gallon of you love, you know? Because you can't really have an unlimited amount of love, because that's hard to attain. So if you want to give, I don't know, I mean, again, each person's different. If you love, like, you could love your rabbi.
Yeah.
And you could love your priest. You could love your doctor or whatever, your therapist, your local pizza man. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like we need to spread the love, though. I feel like in the same sense we need to kind of narrow in, we also need to spread it. The love fuels certain things in us. You know, it can fuel these acts of good.
Yeah.
If we say, you know, I love this person, let's put our heads together. You know, let's take this relationship that we have.
Yeah.
You know, we can say anything to each other, we can turn each other down, we can shoot down ideas, you know, build up great ideas. And let's take that relationship and do something productive with it. There's no bound to how much good we can do in this world. But there is a limit to what we can do that is bad.
Yeah.
And the limit is measured in when the world ends.
Yeah.
When it's a ball of fiery, you know, a mess.
Yes.
Or when mankind has died. You know, and a new species is on the rise. You know, that's when we know we have done so much bad, we can go no further. But the only place I feel like we can go from here is up. It can continue to get worse, but it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to.
You're digging a hole. You can stop now, and you're on solid ground. But if you keep digging, eventually you'll reach the center of the earth, and it's a hot, fiery death.
Hot, fiery, liquid metal core.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think, you know, you should... It's all about give and take, you know? You need to give love, but you can only give so much. And so that's why it takes an effort. It takes a lot of people to give a lot of love in order for things to get done. And yeah, I like that.
But I feel like the love of friends is something that's most present in my life. I feel like I see it the most.
Yeah.
You know, if it's the largest, who's to judge?
Yeah.
But I feel like at this phase in my life, there was a phase when my family was truly, I think, the biggest source of love. But now I feel like it's mostly my friends, because I see them more, and I rely on them for more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like we learn together, and, you know, we're still learning. It's not my friends and myself are all experts on life. You know, we screw up, and we understand that.
Yeah.
But and that's what I prefer in some senses over the love for my family. Is my family is a bunch of mostly adults. You know, they're either in their career or have finished their career. So they are now more experienced looking at my life. They think spreading their love is in the form of giving me advice.
Yeah.
And I love advice.
Yes.
But sometimes advice goes too far. Advice starts to become, well, why don't you do this? This being something they want me to do,
it becomes
that I don't want to do for myself.
Them living through you.
Exactly. And I think we will all become guilty of that one day.
Yeah.
You'll see someone, you can't work anymore, but you loved what you did, and you want to live vicariously through someone else, and so that they can share the same joy you had, even though you know damn well that they will not necessarily have those same emotions.
Yeah.
And also, how would you know if they had those emotions?
Yeah.
And I feel like the love of friends is irreplaceable.
We're doing this, we're learning together, we're messing up together.
Yeah.
And we're all like contemporaries.
Exactly.
And we're figuring things out together.
Yeah, and we're all, roughly the same age.
Yeah.
And, we will be able to go through life together.
Yeah.
Whereas, our family, it's this varying age range of people.
Mm-hmm.
People in their 70s or 80s, all the way down to people our age.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you'll lose those people.
Yeah.
And, you always need to be thinking of what next. Who can I love after this?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have no love, you're lonely. And I feel like loneliness is pain.
Yeah.
I was so lonely, I feel like, in my freshman year of high school. I didn't have many friends, but I was also at that stage where it was like my family wasn't the sole driver of my life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of my turn to start thinking about what do I want to do.
Yeah.
So people, my parents especially, were starting to take their foot off the gas, give me a little bit more control.
Mm-hmm.
So it turned into, I have more freedoms, but what do? I'm going to sit here and, weep with myself.
Yeah.
But on a similar note, the love of my family, I feel like, is so indestructible that you can go through anything.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there was a time when my parents weren't talking to my grandparents.
Yeah.
And of course, I was a young child at this point. I had no idea what was going on. And, from what I hear now, that was pretty rough. You know what I mean? It was a lot of drama.
Yeah.
But, they bounced back from that.
Yeah.
They didn't say, well, I don't love you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been the case.
Yeah.
And I feel like it doesn't matter how distant a person in your family is from you. The love still exists. The flame can be turned down low, but it never goes out.
Yeah.
It's now up to you to figure out how to rekindle that flame.
Yeah.
And I feel like even the worst person, even the most hated serial killer,
Mm-hmm.
their mother still loves them because they are a human being.
Yeah.
They still love parts of them, and they will miss parts of them
Yeah.
when they die or when they go to jail or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that has made life truly worth living, and it has made life truly distinctly human.
Yeah.
Granted, animals feel love,
but
theirs is definitely a more biological love.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're feeling. It's just, I have an impulse, let me act on it, and they can't express that.
Yeah.
They feel love only for the purpose of procreating. It's science. Get over it. But humans, love drives society.
Yeah.
We can form complex relationships and, feel these complex emotions. And what forms these emotions? Love. I feel like depression can be set on by love. Anxiety can be set on by love. To me, those are the two biggest groups of emotional problems, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness can be fueled by love. Sadness can be fueled by love. All these things love has a tie to. But I feel like if I were to say, I don't know, excitement, I feel like sadness has no connection to excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety has no connection to excitement.
Mm-hmm.
But happiness has a connection to excitement. That's a one-way path right there.
Yeah.
It's the single-celled organism in this world of multi-celled organisms.
Yes.
I feel like we learned about these in biology. It's been many years.
Oh, it's been too long.
Too long? You want to go back to biology?
No, I mean like too long as in too long for me to remember.
Oh, okay.
Not too long as in like I'm
It's
kind
been too long, man. Let's get together.
Like I'm longing. Yeah. Oh my God. We should get together, man. That's a line I've heard so often. It's like people from like past semesters being like, let's get together. And I've been guilty of saying, we should all get together sometime. And having no interest in doing that.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a fake kind of thing that I think everyone's kind of guilty of at a certain point.
I think we sometimes just have to do that,
It's sort of a formality.
It is.
Oh, it's sort of a way of saying, I have missed you, and I have the thought, I like you, and I want to show you that I have the thought of hanging out with you that I have no intention of ever fulfilling.
Yeah. Those words, are just like, I'll go on with my life. You know what I mean? Like, I saw you, great to see you, but really, let's just not.
No, we should catch up.
Let's not say we did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's so much to love. I mean, and we haven't even talked about romantic love.
We've gone 40 minutes in the podcast about love and not talked about romantic love.
But I guess that goes to show you that we were debunking a myth.
Yes.
Love is not just for your significant other.
Yeah.
Love is for everyone. We must learn to spread the love.
Yes.
And hone in on the love and focus on the love. But romantic love is something that I have not yet found. Something which one day I feel like I'd greatly enjoy. But at this stage in my life, I feel like I can hardly handle myself. I feel like I'm just on the brink of, a crisis at all times. I can't put someone else through that before I figure out my own.
I always think like that, where it's like, I just want to be alone. And I can't have another person sharing this with me because I'm going to bring them down. And I think having a significant other, regardless of if you love them or not, is kind of, I don't want to say important, but it is kind of critical in sort of growing, as a person.
Yeah.
I've had a few romantic relationships that I would even call, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 that I would actually count as relationships, that aren't just like, hey, I like you, texting or whatever, passing notes.
Mm-hmm.
I like you. And I feel like eventually there's only 2 options for a relationship. You're either going to stay with them or you're going to not stay with them,
Yeah.
And more than likely, if you're in high school, you're not going to stay with them unless you're a certain couple. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
But I come out of every, romantic relationship, every encounter I have, a different person and a better person, because it shows you what you like in things, it shows you what you don't like, it shows you your values compared to what other people may have. And I don't know. And again, bringing love into things, I think I've been in a few relationships, I've only said I love you to one person, and I at the time I meant it, and that's something you have to like build up towards, I don't know. I think we should get Mikey G a GF.
I need it. I go back and forth. Yeah. And I feel like if I ever publish my journal one day, my journals, you'll see that I bounce between them.
Yeah.
It's like, I have no patience for this, I'm just this pessimistic ass, who no one would want to hang out with. But I feel like, in some regards, my heart is very hardened over. I'm very me-oriented. It's something that it's always been a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's a part of me, and it is impossible to change.
I mean,
it's like it would be changing me at my very core. And people often are like, wow, you're so rude. I'm very sarcastic. I can be rude, but I can be very straight to the point.
Yeah.
And people don't love that very much. There's that word again. People don't like when I'm straight to the point, but in some ways it's like, I don't want to try and fluff it up. If it's a serious matter, I'd rather just give it to you straight because that's how I would want it.
Yeah.
I can't sit here while you fumble over your words and try and think of the lightest way to put the worst possible scenario.
Yeah.
It's like, I will go insane.
Yeah.
I feel like a GF would help.
Yeah.
I feel like it would give me someone to talk to. Especially when it's like, I can't call... I really wouldn't be able to call my siblings about this. I feel like there's a lot of things I just keep inside.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, like people in my family I don't want to talk to about it. Because it's like, they know me on such a different level.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't want them to think different of me. Since, I have to spend the rest of my life with them.
Yeah.
And these are like fleeting things. It's like, oh, this really stinks. I'm really stressed. I'm really anxious. Rough day.
Mm-hmm.
My mother doesn't care.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, she's not going to remember that today was terrible.
Yeah.
But I feel like to be able to reach out to someone and form a relationship. You have a relationship with your mother when you're born. That's just that's science.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you be able to forge one is something that I look forward to. And when I say I haven't had a romantic relationship, that doesn't mean that I haven't ever been interested or been like, wow, like I really wish X person or Y person. You know, or like you start to slip into like, ooh, I like this. You know, but
yeah,
I'm the type of person who, you know, I'm a thinker.
mm.
And, you know, I kind of let my mind take over, and then my thoughts kind of pop up. I'm like, whoa, stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to go too far down this path and say, I regret it. And regret is something I do fear in life.
I can totally see that. I feel like when it comes to romantic relationships, you cannot have that thought. Because if you keep doing that, you are just going to, like, your mind will say, I do not see myself marrying this person, so what's the point?
Yeah.
And I feel like it is very important to see what different people are like.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm coming from a different side where I feel like I'm a bit of a hopeless romantic.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I kind of romanticize love, you know? And the idea of, like, you know, romantic relationships and stuff. And I may idealize them. And I have a thing where I see a girl and I fall in love, and Mikey G has seen me.
I've witnessed it, and it's almost terrifying. When it's like, what are you doing? You know,
she's the one.
He's drooling. He's like already booked a wedding venue. You know, he's got a tux sitting in his closet right now, just in case those nuptials need to come in the next 24 hours. You can look at a person and say they're the one.
I mean,
I feel like you can both kind of get a little bit of a vibe check from them immediately. It's like
vibe check.
You
can't check.
And you know, it's very looks driven. For me, it's like I am 100% personality driven.
Well, I'm not looks.
I'm not trying to say like you know, what's the word I'm looking? You don't like itemize women or like make them seem like they're items that, you know, on looks alone.
No, I love women.
I don't think that was a question.
No, like, I mean, like, the mind. And that's really the thing. It's just, I feel like, and again, I don't want to sound shallow, but, I mean, the first thing you notice about someone when you see them across the room, it's not their beautiful personality, it's their nice face or whatever.
But I feel like I've gotten to the point where I have seen a person, had feelings for them,
mm-hmm.
talked to them, and been like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You are an idiot.
That happens all the time.
And so I feel like, it's like I can see someone and be like, ooh,
mm-hmm.
you know, I'll acknowledge, you know, oh, you know, you look good. But at the same time, it's also like, I am going to force myself to kind of see beyond that. Because I feel like as a person who can be very self-conscious, I don't want someone judging me based on looks alone. I feel like...
I mean, you shouldn't judge someone based on looks. I'm just saying, like...
Yeah. Which I feel like this world is moving towards. Tinder, like with Tinder and apps like that, I feel
mm-hmm.
like you literally get like 10 pictures or less of these people
mm-hmm.
and a sentence or two worth of who they are.
Yeah.
And then that's how you make your determination.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like my eventual goal is not to have a trophy wife, if you will, or a woman who's a model.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that's the way it happens, that's the way it happens. But, you know, I truly want to fall in love with a whole person and not just their body. And that, I feel like, is what has kept me so long, is I don't set my sights on someone. I wait until, before I would even act on anything, I want a good chunk of information about them. So I know it's like, we can form a bond, and like I know it'll work. It's not going to be like, oh, here's 2 days, and that didn't work.
I mean, I can totally see that, but nobody's perfect, you know? And I think you kind of have to, and a part about love is sort of accepting another person's faults.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like that's just what romantic love sort of starts off as. And it's, sure, maybe just you're cute or whatever, Or it could be, I connect with you, we both like playing this one game, or we both like this one album. And when you grow past the knowing their faults and you learn to accept their faults, and they accept your faults, that's where you really start to connect with the person, you know? Because, I mean, I don't want to say that looks aren't everything, or the looks aren't factored into it at all.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at a certain, you have to be at least a little attracted to somebody in order for them to be, like, a romantic interest to you.
Yeah, I'm not saying, like, it's not a part at all.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's the spark.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, I wouldn't just say, oh, you're cute, I'm going to go talk to you. There are people that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who I am.
Yeah.
Now, and I feel like people see me as, or can see me as, you know, if I'm in class or something, as well, he seems like he's, you know, pretty outgoing or confident, but it's like, in my mind, it's just, it's this constant battle between, what should I do? What should I do? You know, my conscious me and my subconscious me always kind of butting heads.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what drives me, you know, for sure. But in situations like this, you know, I'm at a stalemate at all times. And again, you know, there are people who are like, why haven't you had a girlfriend yet? It's like, in a way, I'm waiting for the right time in my mind and waiting for the right person. Not that there'll ever be a right person or a wrong person or the perfect person, but I do want someone who I can form a deep relationship with. Whether or not it lasts, you know, that is for time to tell. But I do want something of substance and not just a passing little, you know, a little rendezvous that, you know, comes just as quickly as it goes.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I'm sort of just have a different perspective on it, where it's like, I feel like you should, like, now is sort of a good time to sort of find out what you like.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying go on a different date with a different girl every single night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hi, nice to meet you, bye, nice to not see you again.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, like, try new things.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3.5 billion people of the opposite sex in the world. And I saw this I don't know where it was. It might have been a TikTok. And it said, there are 3.5 billion girls in the world, and you think, quote unquote, the one is from your same high school.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, it's really interesting. So, I mean, there's a lot of fish in the sea, and here's your fishing rod, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in college. We're at UConn. There's how many people at stores?
Like 15,000.
You know? And I don't know. I think if you want to go on a date with Mikey G,
hit me up.
Hit him up, man. Hit him up.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up some great points. I feel like you've opened my eyes a little bit.
No, I mean, I don't think you should ever abandon your values or anything like that. But, and again, for as much as I, like, overplay my love of people, I don't really fall in love with people at first sight. It's just, like, there's just, you know.
You got to get the ball rolling somehow.
Exactly. That's the thing. And it's like, if you don't get the ball rolling, it's just going to be a ball that's sitting there.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have to give it, I don't think you should throw a 95-mile-per-hour fastball at the girl, but I think you should push the ball a little bit just to get the inertia going, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think this year, you know, this semester, we're going out with a different outlook. I'm already meeting new people. I'm talking to some people right now. And I think the same as, I have a good outlook for you, man.
I hope it plays out.
Yeah, it will.
Every year is better than the last. Every year is different.
Yeah.
You know?
This year's going to be the best.
I started somewhere. Who knows where I'll end? Who knows what people will be in my life?
Yeah.
Where I'll be. What I'll be doing.
Yeah. All you know is that your loved ones will always be there.
That is what we always know. Rely on them. Don't live your life thinking you're alone. The moment you do that, you've already lost someone you love. Because if you forget about them and say, I'll do this on my own, you are losing valuable time. Time is all we have in life.
Yeah.
You can be the poorest person on the streets of the city, or the richest person in a sprawling country mansion. Mm-hmm. We all are bound by the same criteria of time. Mm-hmm. If you spend your life saying I'm alone and asking for pity, no one will pity you, and you'll be miserable. Mm-hmm. Soak in the love. It's there. Everyone is loved, and everyone can love. If there's anything that this podcast should have taught you, it's that.
Yeah. I like that. Man, I love you, Mike.
I love you, Liam.
Oh, that's nice.
And I love all of you out there.
Yes, we love you guys. Some of you more than others.
You know who you are.
I didn't have time to write a Mikey G Lib, but I do have this online Mad Lib that we can do. Do you want to do it?
Let's do it.
All right. Can I get a noun?
Ooh, box.
Can I get an adjective?
Smelly.
Noun.
Ooh, cap.
Place.
Hockey rink.
The old hockey rink. Adverb.
Smashingly.
Smashingly. Mikey G and I have been playing a lot of Smash.
We have.
Verb ending in ed.
Smoked.
Noun.
Bottle.
An adjective.
Curvy.
Curvy?
Curvy.
Curvy. A color.
Mauve.
Mauve. A noun.
Window.
An adjective.
Hard.
An article, a plural article of clothing.
Ooh, boxer briefs.
Plural body part.
Butts.
An adjective.
Cushy.
An adverb.
Kindly.
Here's a good one. A liquid.
A liquid. Let's go with yak milk.
Nice and pink. Yak.
Color of love.
Milk. A body part.
Septum.
Septum. You gonna get a septum piercing?
Never.
2 adjectives.
2 adjectives. Let's go cubey and... I gotta hit a home run with this one. Curvy and... soft. That's so dull. I really need just a dictionary in front of me.
Can I have another liquid?
Another liquid? Let's go synovial fluid. The slipperiest substance known to man.
Yay! Can I get a plural noun?
Knives.
Knives. A plural food.
Croissants.
A color.
Green.
An animal.
Ooh, the rhinoceros.
A verb and an adverb.
A verb and an adverb?
Yeah.
A verb, let's go skipping. Adverb, gleefully.
You know, Mikey G, it's time to go mad.
Let's go mad. I'm already mad.
The title of this Mad Lib is Love Letter 2.
I'm sorry to who this is to.
Dear sweetheart, I lie awake all box thinking of you, your smelly smile, and our cat in the hockey rink. I recall our meeting, how my heart smoked with bottle when I first saw you, how curvy you looked in that mauve window, and how those 2 hard boxer briefs on your butts.
Fitting.
I cherished every moment we were together, and was cushy when our date came to a close. I can't say how kindly I regret spilling yak milk on your septum. You were cubey about it, however, for which I am grateful. You are so beautiful when you're cubey. You're soft most other times. Your eyes are like deep pools of synovial fluid.
Slippery little sucker.
Warmed in the moonlight. Your cheeks are as rosy as knives. Your lips like succulent croissants. Your hair is green like a rhino on a summer's day. I can't wait to skip with you again. Right soon. Gleefully, Michael.
It's no Romeo and Juliet, but it'll do.
It'll do, pig. It'll do. See, I don't like the online ones because it's like...
They don't really make sense.
No, they don't. But...
I lay awake all box waiting for you. Should have been like amount of time. Time of day. Length of time.
A feeling. Yeah. Love.
You're in creative writing, Write up short little poems, maybe.
Oh, I write poems all the time. For this one, I just did not have time. I'm so sorry.
Well, there's always next week.
There is next week.
And if you want a better one, go check out last week's episode.
Go check out last week's episode. Drop us a like. Throw some comments in there. And subscribe. Follow us on SoundCloud. Subscribe on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
All of our archives are up.
Yep, we are up to date.
So, and we will be posting the MP3 on SoundCloud at the same time as the audio on YouTube.
Yeah.
So wherever you like to consume your content, that's where you can go and find us.
Yep.
I got nothing else to say.
I think that just about does it.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And, yeah, we'll talk to you next week. We love you.
We love you.